Hello everyone. I'm Helen from Susan's family. Today, I'm showing you how to make the Tribute to Art series, Sunflowers and Starry Night Cushion Case. This tutorial's pattern is available on en001.com. Please feel free to view on it. The pillowcase consists of the front piece, the back piece, decorations, and the zipper. First, crochet the front and back pieces separately. After completing them, make and attach the corresponding decorations. Then, join the front and back pieces together. Finally, sew the zipper onto the opening. Let's start with the front piece. It consists of the main piece and the edging. First, crochet the main piece. After completing it, add the edging to the main piece. Start the main piece with a foundation chain. Then work back and forth along the foundation chain in rows. Crochet upward in rows. The stitches used are the chain stitch and the half double crochet. Please watch me demonstrate the crocheting method. To make it clear for everyone, I will use thick yarn for the demonstration. The color is random. For the specific yarn details, color schemes, and hook sizes, please refer to the detail pages and pattern chart of our product. First, start by making the foundation chain. Wrap the yarn tail around your left little finger. Thread it between the middle finger and index finger. Then, pinch the yarn tail with your thumb and middle finger. Hold the crochet hook with your right hand. Move the hook between these 2 points. Place the hook underneath the yarn. Wrap the yarn counterclockwise with your left thumb and middle finger. Pinch the crossing point of the loop. Position the hook to the left of the yarn. Yarn over. Draw the yarn through. This slip knot does not count as a stitch. Gently tighten. Now start working foundation chain. Yarn over and draw through. 1 chain is done. Such a braid represents 1 stitch. Continue working chains. Yarn over and draw through. This is the 2nd stitch. Repeat this process. Continue chaining. Work all the way down to the required number of stitches. Once completed, the foundation chain is done. My sample has fewer stitches. Let's start the first row. Chain 2 as the beginning chain. These 2 stitches count as 1/2 double crochet, then chain 1 for the interval. Skip 1 chain below. Then insert the hook into the adjacent chain and crochet. Here I'll point out the specific position, which is the 6th to last stitch from the hook. When counting, the loops on the hook are not included. Pick up the back loop of this braid. Work 1/2 double crochet. Yarn over once. Insert the hook. Wrap the yarn and draw through. There are 3 loops on the hook. Yarn over. Pull through all the loops on the hook. The half double crochet is completed. Then chain 1 for the interval. Skip 1 stitch to the left. Pick up the back loop of the next stitch. Work a half double crochet. Yarn over. Insert the hook. Wrap the yarn and draw through. Then yarn over and draw through all the loops on the hook. The half double crochet is completed. Skip 1 stitch. And work a half double crochet in the next stitch. Make a chain between the 2 half double crochets. Repeat this process. Continue working down. Complete this half double crochet and the following chain. Skip 1 stitch below. Make a half double crochet in the last chain stitch. This completes the first row. Move on to the second row. Chain 2 as the turning chain. The turning chain also counts as 1 half double crochet, then turn the fabric counterclockwise. Work 1 chain as the transition. Then pick up the adjacent chain space to the left. Work 1 half double crochet. Continue with 1 chain interval, then pick up the next space, and work 1 half double crochet. Continue picking up chain spaces, and working half double crochets. Work 1 chain stitch between 2 half double crochets. Continue working down. Work the last half double crochet in the final chain space. At this point, the second row is completed. Next, work the third row. The method is the same as the previous row. Chain 2 as the beginning chain. The beginning chain count as 1 half double crochet. I won't repeat this explanation again. Then work 1 chain. Turn the fabric. Pick up the chain spaces. And work half double crochets into each corresponding space. Work 1 chain between 2 half double crochets. Complete the last chain space. The third row is finished. Continue working using the same method as the first 2 rows. While working, you might run out of yarn. You will need to join the yarn. I'll demonstrate the method for joining the new yarn. I'll use this small sample to demonstrate. First, pick up the yarn. Tie a tight knot with the ends on the wrong side of the fabric. Here is the first row. The side with clean texture is the right side. The starting yarn tail should be located on the left side. Continue working after completing this. Place the knot on the wrong side. Leave the yarn tail for now. This is the method for joining yarn. Continue referring to the pattern. Complete the corresponding rows of the main piece. When counting rows here, you can count half double crochets, in a staggered manner from left to right. You can also count the half double crochets in one direction, angled. 1 half double crochet represents 1 row. No need to break yarn after completing. Continue by adding the edging. This completes the explanation of the front piece's main part. Next, we will add the edging. We will use one new stitch technique, slip stitch. Here, I will use this small sample to demonstrate. Continue from the working yarn position. Start with 1 chain to begin. For the last row's edge, pick up the entire half double crochet at the edge. Work 1 single crochet. Yarn over and draw through. At this point, there are 2 loops on your hook. Yarn over, draw through in once. The single crochet is completed. Continue working. This is the beginning chain. Pick it up entirely. Work 2 single crochets. Yarn over and draw through. Then yarn over and draw through all the loops on your hook. 1 single crochet is completed. Work 1 more single crochet here. 1 single crochet, then 2 single crochets alternately. Continue for 3 more times. Once, twice, three times. After completing, in the adjacent rows, work 1 single crochet each. Here we've worked 14 single crochets across 10 rows. You can check the number of stitches, which is counting the braids on the upper right. From now on, follow the pattern. Work 14 single crochets across 10 rows. Keep crocheting until the edge of the first row. When you reach the edge of the first row, take a look at the side that has been worked. Check if the fabric is flat. If it's not very flat, you can adjust the number of stitches based on the actual situation. At the corner, chain 3 as a bridge. Then, pick up the stitches on this side and continue crocheting. First, pick the chain space between 2 adjacent half double crochets and work 1 single crochet. While crocheting here, you can place the starting yarn tail over your hook. Weave in the ends as you crochet. Then, pick up the remaining 2 strands of the chain. Work 1 single crochet. Continue working, picking up the chain spaces and 2 remaining strands. Work single crochets correspondingly. Work all the way down until you reach the last chain space. After completing this side, chain 3. Then move on to this side. Follow the same pattern as the previous side. Work 14 single crochets every 10 rows. Continue working. If you adjusted the pattern or stitch count earlier, just work according to the adjusted stitch count. Finish the last row on this side. Chain 3 as a bridge. Pick up and work along the top of the last row. First, work 1 single crochet in the same chain space. Then pick up the half double crochet stitch, which corresponds to the braid on the upper right. Work 1 single crochet. Continue picking up chain space and work 1 single crochet. Pick up the adjacent half double crochets braid. Work 1 single crochet. Continue with this method. Work single crochets correspondingly. Finish the last chain space. Chain as a bridge. Then work a slip stitch in the first single crochet, which is the second braid on the left side. The first vertical braid is the beginning chain. Skip this one. Insert into the horizontal braid on the left side. Yarn over and hook out. Pull through all the loops on the hook. Complete the slip stitch. This slip stitch doesn't count as one stitch. Tighten. The first round of edging is now completed. Move on to the second round. Chain 2 as the beginning chain. This beginning chain corresponds to the single crochet below. Continue working half double crochets correspondingly. When you encounter the chain space made by 3 chains, correspondingly make 1 half double crochet, 3 chains, and 1 half double crochet in it. Continue working half double crochet in the single crochet positions. Work 1 half double crochet, 3 chains and 1 half double crochet in the chain space made by 3 chains. Complete the remaining part using this method. Complete the corresponding stitches in the last chain stitch space. Make a slip stitch into the turning chain. Find the second chain stitch of the starting chain. Insert into the 2 strands of this chain. Yarn over and draw through. Pull through all the loops on the hook. The slip stitch is completed. The final slip stitch can be tightened or not. Then fasten off the yarn. Chain 1 to secure. Enlarge the loop. Leave a little yarn tail and fasten off. Hide the yarn tail on the wrong side of the fabric. You can weave in a few more stitches. The remaining yarn tails can be weaved in the same way, just hide them on the wrong side. At this point, the explanation for making the front piece is finished. The back piece is made in the same way as the front piece. It also consists of the main part and the edging. The stitch pattern for the main part is the same. The number of stitches and rows are different. After completing the main part, you need to add the edging. You need to change colors at the start. First, fasten off the yarn from the main part. Then join the new yarn. I will use this small sample to demonstrate the method of changing color. Chain 1 to secure. Leave a little yarn tail. Cut the yarn. Pull tight. Now start joining the yarn. Insert the hook into the side chain space of the last row. Make a loose knot. Place it over the hook and draw through. Adjust slightly. Chain 1 as your beginning chain. Work 1 single crochet in the same chain space. As you crochet, place the yarn tail above the hook. Weave in the ends inside the fabric. The edging pattern for the back side is slightly different from that of the front piece. You can refer to the chart for specifics. After completing the first round, continue with the second round. The method for the second round is exactly the same as the front piece. There are a total of 3 rounds for the back piece edging. For the final round, you need to join new yarn to crochet. So, after completing the second round, break the yarn. The final round is still worked with half double crochets. Refer to the pattern chart for the final round and crochet accordingly. The methods and stitches have been demonstrated before. Complete the back piece by yourself. Next, let's make the decorations and sew on the zipper. First, make and attach the decorations. Decorations include cloud, stars, sunflowers, and pendants. The cloud and stars are crocheted at the corresponding positions. The sunflowers and pendants are crocheted separately. After completing them, attach them to the corresponding positions. Let's start with the clouds. First, cut out the paper pattern for the clouds. Here, I have already cut it out. I will use this paper pattern as an example for the demonstration. Please refer to the actual paper pattern you receive. For this paper pattern, the white part in the top left needs to be cut out first. Set it aside for later use. After that, use a water-soluble pen to draw the outline. Place the paper pattern on the center of the right side of the front piece. Note that the side with the foundation chain of the front piece is at the bottom. You should actually use a white water-soluble pen. I am using blue for the demonstration because my sample swatch is light in color. You can refer to the orientation of the clouds here. It can also be the opposite, but the making method is the same. Draw the outermost outline first. If there are any mistakes, you can wipe them off with a damp tissue, then redraw it. After completing this, we will start working on the outermost outline section, following the marked lines. Here, I will work the outline at the bottom first. Pick up the corresponding color of yarn. Here, I will use a random color for demonstration. Make a slip knot. Then, on the right edge. There is no need to crochet on the side of the outline here. At the bottom edge position, pick up the corresponding braid. Insert into 2 strands of the braid. Draw the loop through. Adjust slightly. Chain 3 as the beginning chain. Work 1 DC2 in 1 in the same position. Work 1 double crochet first. Yarn over, insert the hook. At this point, you can place the yarn tail over the hook. Weave in the yarn tail as you work, then yarn over and draw through. There are 3 loops on the hook. Yarn over, pull through the first 2 loops. 2 loops remain on the hook. Continue to yarn over, pull through once the double crochet is completed. Continue to work 1 double crochet here. Yarn over, insert the hook, yarn over and draw through. Then yarn over and pull through the first 2 loops. Repeat twice. Once. Twice. The double crochet is completed. This is a DC2 in 1. Work 2 double crochets in 1 stitch. Continue downward. In a position slightly below the adjacent marked line, pick up 2 threads. Work a DC2 in 1, which means work 2 double crochets in 1 stitch. After completing, in a position slightly above the adjacent marked line, pick up 2 threads. You can also pick up the chain space. Work a DC2 in 1. Continue after completing. Pick a position slightly below the adjacent marked line. Work a DC2 in 1. Then, work a DC2 in 1. In the adjacent marked line, slightly above. Continue along the marked lines, picking positions slightly above and below. Pick up 2 threads or the chain space. Work a DC2 in 1 correspondingly. The positions where you insert the hook are slightly staggered, 1 in top and 1 bottom. There is no requirement for the number of stitches, as long as the fabric is relatively flat after crocheting. If the fabric curls up, it means there are too many stitches. You need to adjust the stitch count and work again. Repeat this process, and work the entire bottom outline area. Work all the way to the edge at this end. Similarly, do not crochet the side edges. When you reach the position near the spiral, pick up stitches below the marked line. When inserting the hook above, leave a distance of 1-2 rows of half double crochets below. You can also adjust based on the actual situation. Just make sure there is some space between the top and bottom. After completing the edge, cut the yarn. Weave the yarn tail into the fabric. You can weave in a few more stitches. This completes the bottom outline area. Continue working the upper sections. Here, you can follow the shape of the lower edge. Use the pattern or the finished product as a reference for working. You can also cut out the finished strip from the pattern. Then align it with the upper outline. Draw a line on the lower edge. Then crochet along the marked line. At the spiral area. Except for the top strip, which is crocheted continuously, the rest need to be separated. That means breaking the yarn when you reach the spiral. Then, at the corresponding position nearby, rejoin the yarn and continue crocheting. The pattern here is mainly used for positioning and providing the general range for crocheting. The specific curve and position can be adjusted according to preference. For the previous white paper pattern position, the length and distance of crocheting can be matched to the pattern. They can also be adjusted according to preference. Complete these strips as shown. The crocheting direction is from right to left. Inserting the hook can be adjusted as needed, slightly staggered front and back. After each strip is crocheted, leave a longer tail. When breaking the yarn, these tails do not need to be dealt with yet. Next, complete the remaining strips. After completing, we need sew the strips together. Thread the reserved yarn into the sewing needle. Then pick up the top of one strip. Sew 1-2 stitches at roughly the corresponding position. You can pick up the braids when inserting the hook. The texture will look better this way. After completing, hide the yarn tails on the wrong side. Here, you can split the yarn into 2 parts. Then, hook out one part in the adjacent stitch. Tie both yarn tails in a double knot to secure. Hide the remaining yarn tails inside the fabric. Secure the remaining yarn tails using the same method, sewing them together with the adjacent strip. When there are yarn tails on both strips here, use one yarn tail to sew them together. Hide the other yarn tail inside the fabric. At the spiral, sew with the corresponding color. Sewing 1-2 stitches to secure. Continue sewing all the parts that need to be sewn together. Finally, you need to sew the outermost 2 strips of fabric. At the spiral position, which is the previously separated part, sew a few stitches to secure it. Use the same color yarn and weave 1-2 stitches back and forth. tie a knot with the yarn tail. Hide the remaining yarn tail inside the fabric. At this point, the cloud section is complete. Next, we will make the stars. The sizes vary here, but the making method is the same. For one of the star, you need to make and attach a moon. Below, I will use the star with the moon as an example to demonstrate the method. Start by cutting out the corresponding paper pattern. Then, in the lower left area of the cloud, draw the outline. My sample is smaller, so I placed it in the lower right. You can also adjust the placement according to your preference. After completing this, proceed with the crocheting. Pick up the corresponding color. Make one slip knot, then, add any marked position. Pick up 2 threads and join the yarn. Next, chain 1 as the beginning chain. In the same position, work at SC2 in 1, which means work 2 single crochets in 1 stitch. Remember to weave in the ends. 1, 2. The SC2 in 1 is completed. Continue to the left. Pick up the corresponding 2 threads where marked. Work at SC2 in 1. Continue along the marked positions. Working SC2 in 1S, there's no specific stitch count required. Just ensure the fabric is flat when you're done. After completing this, in the first single crochet, pick up the braid and work a slip stitch. No need to pull tight here. Move down to fasten off. Gently enlarge the loop on the hook. Leave a little yarn tail. Cut the yarn. Then find the second braid on the left side. Insert from behind. Hook the reserved yarn to the back. Then insert from the back into the center of the slip stitch braid. Pull the reserved yarn through. Make a slight adjustment. Hide the yarn tails to the wrong side of the fabric. At this point, the outer edge is crocheted. Continue downward using the same method. Keep drawing lines inside, or just follow the curve of the outer edge. Crochet 3 rounds inward. Note that the color is different. You can complete it by yourself. After completing, we will make and attach the moon. Start by crocheting the moon. Pick up the corresponding yarn. Begin with the corresponding number of chain stitches. After completing, find the second braid on the left side. Insert the hook into the back loop, and work 1 slip stitch. Continue by inserting the hook into the back loop of the braid. Work 1 slip stitch. Then work 2 single crochets. Two half double crochets. Two double crochets. Then work 1 double crochet. Then pick up the entire double crochet, work 1 puff stitch. Consist of 4 half double crochets. Yarn over the hook. Pick up the double crochet. Yarn over and pull through. This is an incomplete half double crochet. Continue to pick up the double crochet, work 3 incomplete half double crochets. Yarn over. Here, when crocheting, use your middle finger to slightly press down on the yarn. Yarn over and pull through. 1, 2, 3. At this point, there are 9 loops on the hook. Yarn over, pull through the first 8 loops, leaving 2 loops on the hook. Yarn over again, pull through once. The puff stitch is complete. I consider the double crochet and the puff stitch as one bean stitch. Skip the adjacent chain. Pick up the next chain space and work the bean stitch. Work 1 double crochet. Then work the puff stitch. Start with 4 incomplete half double crochets. Then yarn over and pull through the first 8 loops. Next, yarn over and pull through the last 2 loops. Complete the puff stitch. At this point, 1 bean stitch is completed. Continue by skipping 1 chain. Work 2 bean stitches. After completing, skip 1 chain. Work 2 double crochets. Two half double crochets. Two single crochets into each corresponding stitch. Finally, work 2 slip stitches. Then leave a yarn tail of about 40 centimeters and cut the yarn. Weave in the yarn tail on the wrong side of the fabric. The moon motif is now completed. Attach it to the inner side of the 4th round. Place it on the right side. The position can also be adjusted according to preference. I will now demonstrate the attaching method. I'll use this small sample for the demonstration. Thread the reserved yarn into the sewing needle. Then pick up the edge of the moon and sew it on. There are no specific requirements for the method, just make sure it's secure. Hide the final yarn tail on the wrong side. You can weave in a few more stitches. The moon is now attached. The rest of the stars are follow the same method. Crochet them in the corresponding position. The distribution and quantity can be referenced from the finished product. You can also adjust according to your preference. The color scheme can also be adjusted according to your preference. That completes the explanation for the stars. Next, we will make the sunflowers. It consists of the flower, the stem, and the leaves. Crochet each part separately. After completing, attach them onto the front and back pieces. First, crochet the flower. Start with an adjustable magic ring. Work in rounds, crocheting counterclockwise. The new stitches used are the CH2 picket and CH6 picket. Please watch my demonstration. First, start with a magic ring. Hold the yarn with your right hand. Wrap it twice around your left index finger. Use your right thumb and index finger. Pinch where the loops overlap. Take it out. Hold the yarn with your left hand. Transfer the loop between your left thumb and middle finger. Then pick up the crochet hook. Insert into the loop. Yarn over and pull through. Secure with one chain stitch. At this point, the magic ring is completed. Start with the first round. First, chain 3 as the beginning chain, which count as 1 double crochet. Then chain 1 for a space. Then work 7 double crochets in the magic ring. Chain 1 between each double crochet. Complete the last double crochet. Continue with chaining 1. After that, close the magic ring. There are 2 loops. Gently pull the starting yarn tail. You can see 1 loop moving. Tighten the moving loop. 1 loop remains. Pull tight the starting yarn tail. This closes the loop. Finally, counting from the bottom. At the topmost chain from the turning chain. Pick up 2 strands and join a slip stitch. Pull tight. You need to switch colors later. Cut the yarn. The first round is completed. The side with neat double crochet texture is the front side of the flower. The back side has the starting yarn tail. Move on to the second round. Join the new yarn in the chain space to the left of the yarn tail from the previous round. Chain 1 to begin. Make 1 single crochet in the same chain space. Remember to weave in the yarn tail. Chain 3 as a bridge. Continue, make 1 single crochet in this chain space. After completing it, pick up the chain spaces between the double crochets. Make 1 single crochet, 3 chains and 1 single crochet. Work this round completely. Complete the last space. At this point, you can see that we have worked in 8 chain spaces. Next, join a slip stitch at the first single crochet, which is the braid on the left side. After completing it, pull tight. Fasten off the yarn. This completes the second round. Next, work the third round. Attach the yarn in any chain space from the previous round. Chain 1 as the beginning chain. Work 1 single crochet in the same chain space. Remember to weave in the yarn. Then continue with 1 half double crochet and 1 double crochet. Next, create a picket with 2 chain stitches. I'll refer to this as the CH2 picket. First, chain 2. Then insert the hook into the front loop of the double crochet below and the thread on the left side. Work 1 slip stitch. No need to tighten. From now on, unless otherwise specified, do not tighten this slip stitch. At this point, the CH2 picket is complete. Continue in the same chain space. Work 1 double crochet, 1 half double crochet, and 1 single crochet. Consider the stitches worked in one space as a small petal. Continue downward. Pick the adjacent chain space and work a small petal. First, make 1 single crochet, 1 half double crochet, 1 double crochet, then make a CH2 picket. After that, continue with 1 double crochet, 1 half double crochet, 1 single crochet. At this point, the small petal is completed. Work into each chain space to work the small petals. Complete the last small petal. In the first small petal, join with a slip stitch in the first single crochet. Pull tight. No need to cut the yarn. This completes the third round. Now work the fourth round, using the previous yarn tail. Chain 1 for transition. Then pick up the single crochet from the second round, which is directly below the first small petal, on the left side. From the back to the front, insert the hook into the corresponding single crochet stitch. Make 1 single crochet. After completing, chain 3 as a bridge. Then, underneath this small petal, pick up the corresponding single crochet on the left. The stitch will be covered by the petal here. You can pull it apart to see the position. Insert from the back. Then insert back through the stitch to the back. Make 1 single crochet. Then work a picket with 6 chains. I'll refer to this as a CH6 picket from now on. First, work 6 chains. Then insert into the first stitch of the 6 chains. Pick up the back loop of the braid. Make 1 slip stitch. Complete the CH6 picket. Continue downward, picking up single crochets from round 2, which corresponding below the adjacent small petals, and work a single crochet in each. Remember to chain 3 between single crochets. After that, work the CH6 picket. You can see here. The CH6 picket is exactly between the 2 small petals. Continue downward, picking up the single crochets below the small petals. Correspondingly make single crochets behind the small petals. Work 3 chain stitches between the single crochets behind the spaces between the small petals. Work 1 CH6 picket. Repeat this process. Continue crocheting downward. Finish this last single crochet. Then continue to work 1 CH6 picket. Then join with a slip stitch. In the first single crochet, pull tight. Cut the yarn. And this completes the 4th round. Check the finished part. There are 8 CH6 picots in this round. Continue to the 5th round. Join the yarn in the chain space of the CH6 picket. Then chain 2 for the turning chain. The turning chain counts as 1/2 double crochet, then work 3 double crochets in the chain space. Make sure to weave in the yarn. Then work 1ch2 picket. Next, continue with 3 double crochets and 1/2 double crochet. Consider the stitches in the chain space as a large petal. Pick up from the wrong side of the adjacent small petal, at the position of the ch2 picket. Pick up through 2 vertical lines. And work 1 slip stitch to secure. After completing, continue. Work a large petal in the chain space of the next ch6 picket. Then, on the wrong side of the adjacent small petal, pick up the 2 vertical lines of the ch2 picket and work 1 slip stitch to secure. Continue by working a large petal in the chain space of the ch6 picket. After completing each petal, you need to pick up the adjacent small petal, the 2 vertical lines on the wrong side of the ch2 picket, and work a slip stitch to secure. Continue working in this way. After completing the last securing slip stitch, move down to the first large petal. Pick up the position of the turning chain. Pick the 2 strands of the second chain, and work a slip stitch to join. Pull tight. Finally, leave about 30 centimeters of yarn tail, and cut the yarn. Round 5 is completed. Weave in the starting tail to the wrong side. The remaining yarn tails can be trimmed. This completes the explanation of the flower section. You can follow the same method and work the corresponding number of flowers. Next, work the leaves. Still start with an adjustable magic ring. Crochet counterclockwise and rounds outward. It involves 1 new stitch. Treble crochet. Please watch my demonstration. First, pick up the corresponding yarn. Start work the adjustable magic ring. After completing, chain 1 as the beginning chain. Then work 7 single crochets in the ring. Close the ring. Then slip stitch into the first stitch. If you can't find the correct position, you can also count the stitches from back to front. Pull tight. This completes the first round. Move on to the second round. Start with 2 chains as the beginning chain. Then pick up the position of the single crochet, work a DC2 in 1. Start from the bottom single crochet. Remember to weave in the yarn tail. Continue after completing. Work 2 DC2 in 1s correspondingly. Work 3 treble crochets in adjacent stitch. Work the first stitch first. Wrap the yarn around the hook twice. Insert the hook. Then yarn over and hook out. Continue to yarn over and pass through the first 2 loops. Repeat 3 times. Once. Twice. 3 times. Complete 1 treble crochet. Continue by working 2 treble crochets here. After completing, pick up the stitches and work 3 DC2 in 1s correspondingly. Complete the last stitch position. Follow with 2 chains. Then pick up the same stitch below. Work 1 slip stitch. No need to tighten. Continue work 6 chains. Then start from the second to last chain. Pick up the back loop of the braid. Work 1 slip stitch. Continue picking up the back loop of the braids, working slip stitches correspondingly. After completing, join a slip stitch in the adjacent single crochet. Gently tighten. At this point, the second round is complete. Finally, cut the yarn and leave about 20 centimeters of yarn tail. Trim any remaining yarn tails. One leaf is now finished. You can follow the same method and complete the corresponding number of leaves. Next, work the flower stems. The lengths vary here, but the crocheting method is the same. First, pick up the corresponding color of yarn. Start by leaving a long yarn tail. Then, begin with the foundation chain. Work the corresponding number of chain stitches. There is no specific number required here. Work until you reach the desired length. The specific length is indicated on the pattern. Once you reach approximately the right length, leave a longer yarn tail for easy adjustment later. We will not deal with this for now. Enlarge the loop a bit. Set it aside. That completes the explanation for crocheting the flower stems. Finally, we need to assemble them. This is all attached on the side close to the last row of the front and back pieces, with the right side facing up. The attachment positions of the two pieces should be symmetrical. You can also adjust the specific position according to preference. Attach the flowers first. Here, I will use a small sample for demonstration. The position can be random. Thread the reserved yarn into the sewing needle. Then pick up strands on the wrong side of the flower. Sew a few stitches to secure it to the corresponding position on the front and back pieces. Be mindful not to pick up the petals. You can pick up strands along the circle with chain stitches at the back. First, adjust the starting point to the corresponding position. Hide the final yarn tail on the wrong side. The flower is now attached. After completing, attach the stem below the flower. First, check the length. You can refer to the finished product for the position, or adjust it according to preference. If it's too long, you can rip part of it. If it's too short, continue working chain stitches until you reach the desired length. After reaching the right length, pull the yarn tail through. Tighten it. Then use the yarn tails to secure it to the fabric piece. If the yarn tails are long, you can trim them. First, split the yarn into 2 strands. Make sure the braids face upward when securing. Place the stem in the corresponding position. Weave in the yarn tail on the wrong side of the fabric. This completes the explanation for attaching the flower stems. Finally, attach the leaves. Use the reserved yarn. Attach them to the appropriate positions on both sides of the stem. Here, you only need to sew the middle of the leaves and the extending parts. After completing, hide the yarn tail inside the fabric. You can attach the rest leaves by yourself. For the rest, follow the same method. Attach the corresponding number of flowers, stems and leaves by yourself. This completes the explanation for the sunflower part. Next, let's make the pendant. It consists of a circular piece and lace trim. First, work the circular piece. After completing, pick up the corresponding positions on both sides of the circular piece. Crochet the lace trim. This uses one new stitch technique, the HDC 2-in-1. Please watch my demonstration. First, work the first round. Start with a magic ring. Then chain 1 as the beginning chain. Work 6 single crochets into the ring. Close the ring after completing. Then join with a slip stitch in the first stitch. Pull tight. The first round is complete. Move on to the second round. We need to pick up the back loop to work. Here, the braid has 2 threads of the yarn. The one closer to you is the front loop. The one further away is the back loop. For this round, you need to pick up the back loop and work. Chain 1 as the beginning chain. Then pick up the back loops. Correspondingly make SC 2-in-1 in each of them. Remember to weave in the yarn tails. After completing, slip stitch into the first stitch. Pull tight. The second round is complete. Next, work the third round. Chain 1 as the beginning chain. Then work 1 single crochet in the next stitch. Continue picking up stitches. Work 1 SC 2-in-1, 1 single crochet in sequence. Complete the last stitch. Slip stitch into the first stitch. Pull tight. The third round is complete. Continue with the fourth round. Chain 1 as the beginning chain. Then pick up the back loop of the stitches. Make 1 SC 2-in-1. Work 2 single crochets in sequence. Similarly, this round will also work in the back loop only. Continue with 1 SC 2-in-1 and 2 single crochets in the pattern. Finish by joining with a slip stitch into the first stitch. Pull tight. The fourth round is completed. Move on to the fifth round. Chain 2 as the beginning chain. Then pick up the adjacent stitch to the left. Work 1/2 double crochet. Note, do not pick up the beginning chain position. Work into the corresponding stitch. Work 2 half double crochets into the next stitch, which is 1 HDC 2-in-1. 1, 2. The HDC 2-in-1. Pick up the stitches afterward. Work 3 half double crochets correspondingly. Then work 1 HDC 2-in-1. Work the remaining part with 3 half double crochets. 1 HDC 2-in-1 in sequence. Finish the last increase. There is 1 stitch left. Work 1 half double crochet. Finally, at the top of the beginning chain, which is the second chain stitch, pick up 2 loops and work a slip stitch. Here, for a neat edge, there's no need to tighten. Proceed to fasten off. Hide the yarn tail on the wrong side of the fabric. The circle piece is now finished. Next, work the lace trim. These needs to be crocheted on both the right and wrong sides of the circle. Start with the right side. Find the position of the slip stitch from the first round. Pick up the remaining half loop on the left, which is this small horizontal line. Join the yarn here. Chain 3 as the beginning chain. Pick up the small horizontal lines below. Correspondingly make DC 2-in-1s. Complete the first round. Pick up any position above. Pick up 1-2 threads and make a DC 2-in-1. Then work into the remaining front loops of the third round. Start beside the seam of slip stitch. After completing the last stitch, cut the yarn. Weave the yarn tail on the wrong side of the fabric. The lace trim on the front side is now finished. Continue working the lace trim on the wrong side. Here you can see, on the wrong side the fabric, there are bumps like this. Just work this side's lace trim by picking up the raised horizontal bars. First, find the position of the slip stitch from the first round. Pick up the adjacent raised horizontal bar on the left side. Insert the hook and join the yarn. Chain 3 as the beginning chain. Pick up each raised horizontal bars and work DC2 in 1 correspondingly. Remember to weave in the yarn tail as you work. Complete the first round, then pick up any raised horizontal bar from the next round. Work DC2 in 1 correspondingly. Then use the same method for round 3. Work DC2 in 1 correspondingly. Complete round 3. No need to work further down. Cut the yarn. Weave in the yarn tail on the wrong side. This completes the explanation of the lace trim section. At this point, 1 pendant is completed. Make the corresponding number of pendants. Set the completed pendants aside for now. We will assemble them later. Now, join the front and back pieces together. Place the wrong sides of both fabric pieces together. This means the right sides should face outward. Match the foundation chain sides and sew them together. Sew the edges on both sides as well. Leave the remaining edge as an opening. If the stitch counts of the 2 edges do not correspond evenly, then sew to ensure evenness. First, find a few roughly corresponding points on the 3 edges that need to be sewn together. Secure them with thread. You can follow the same method to roughly secure the remaining 2 edges. Once done, start sewing. Start sewing from the edge next to the opening. First, take out the same color yarn from the front piece. I will demonstrate using a different color. Take the yarn about 1 meter long and thread it into the sewing needle. Then start sewing at the corner chain space. First, insert the needle into the center chain stitch. Pick up the back loop of the braid and insert the needle on the other fabric piece. Also at the center chain stitch. Pick up the back loop and insert the needle. Pull the yarn through. Leave a little yarn tail. Insert again in the same position. Continue downward. Pick the corresponding loops of the adjacent position and sew once. While sewing, place the yarn tail the yarn above the needle. Weave in the yarn as you sew. Then, Count the number of stitches from the adjacent stitch to the securing point on both fabric pieces. Check how many stitches differ. While sewing later, adjust as you go. First, pick the adjacent stitch to the left. Insert the needle into the back loop of the stitch. Similarly, insert the needle into the back loop on the back piece, sew them together. When you encounter the turning chain, insert the needle into the chain space. On the other side, insert the needle into the back loop of the stitch, match and sew together. Continue sewing 1-2 stitches downward. Insert the needle into the back loop of the stitches, sew from front to back. Once completed, I will demonstrate how to adjust the stitch count. On the side with more stitches, insert the needle into the adjacent stitch. On the side with fewer stitches, insert the hook into the same stitch we just sew. Sew them together. This adjusts it once. Continue adjusting using this method. Count the difference in stitches and adjust that many times. Make sure distribute adjust the position roughly evenly. Continue using this method. Keep sewing. When no adjustment is needed, sew corresponding stitches together. When you reach the secured position, cut the waste yarn off. Count the stitches before sewing, then adjust while sewing. Follow this method. Sew all the way to the corner position. Pick up the back loop of the braid and insert the needle. Sew corresponding stitches together. For the edges and corners that need to be sewn, follow the previous method to sew them together. If you run out of thread or it starts to unravel during sewing, you can tie a knot on the wrong side and join a new yarn. First, bring the thread to the wrong side. Pick up a few stitches nearby. Take out the new yarn. Tie a knot. Bring the yarn to the right side. Then continue sewing from nearby. Finish the rest of it. For this last corner, sew the centered chain stitches together. To secure it, sew the last stitch position one more time. Finally, hide the yarn tail on the wrong side. You can weave in a few more stitches. Weave in all the yarn tails on the wrong side of the fabric. That completes the explanation for joining the fabric pieces. Finally, we will sew on the zipper. Place the zipper at the opening. Then use thread to secure a few points. First, take a long yarn tail. Thread it into the needle. Then secure the position of the zipper slider. Secure the other side using the same method. After completing, take out the same yarn of the front piece. I'll use a random color. Then take a piece of yarn, about 3 times the length of the opening. You can make it longer. Thread it into the needle. Start sewing. Here, I'll start sewing from one end with the zipper slider. First, secure the position of the zipper slider. pick up the stitches from the last round of the edging on the wrong side, and sew them to the zipper tape. There's no specific requirement for the sewing method, just make sure it's secure. If there's any zipper left over, sew a few stitches at the tail to secure it. Hide the yarn tails inside the fabric. This side of the zipper is now sewn. Sew the other side using the same method. At this point, the zipper part is complete. Finally, attach the pendant. Place the front piece with the right side facing up. The pendant should also have the right side facing up. Then use the yarn from the edging. Of the front piece for sewing, I'll demonstrate using a random color. Here, pick up at the corner and insert the needle. Sew 1-2 stitches with the pendant. Hide the final yarn tail inside the fabric. Continue in the same way. Attach the pendants on the remaining corners. The pendants on the diagonal corners are the same color. Pendants on adjacent corners are contrast colors. Finally, you can choose whether to secure the middle area of the flower stem based on your preference. Here, I'll demonstrate the method to secure the stem. Take out the corresponding yarn used for making the flower stems. Cut a piece of yarn. Make it a bit longer than the flower stem. Then split the yarn into 2 strands. Pick up stitches the wrong side to sew. Start by leaving a little bit of yarn tail. Finally, bring the yarn to the wrong side. Hide the remaining yarn tail inside the fabric. The other yarn tail can also be woven using the same method. Up to this point, the entire pillow cover making process has been covered. If you have any questions during the process, don't hesitate to reach us via our website. Susan's Family, supporting your handwork experience, sharing the joy of life. Thank you for watching. We will see you in the next episode.